Hi, and welcome back to my review of Giants bobbleheads. Today, let's take a look at the business of bobbleheads. I recently ran across an interesting graphic about bobbleheads from the website flipflopflyball.com. It was a general discussion about how many bobbleheads are given away by each team in the majors, how many, how often, who they played, but there was a notable exception that it only listed that Giants gave away 6 bobbleheads and not the 18 that they actually did. So I thought I'd do a little bit of homework and help complete this chart. In terms of bobblehead distribution trends, I was very interested in learning more about the types of bobbleheads the Giants give away, how often they're given away, and how do I get one. In general, there are 5 different types of bobbleheads. There are current players, former players, mascots, celebrity bobbleheads, and animals. Pretty even distribution if you look at the chart. There are 4 ways to get a bobblehead from the Giants. There are special general admission games on the weekends where they give away 20,000 of them. There are weekday special event and heritage nights where there's only 3,000 of them. And you can also sign up for them, such as plate-to-plate race and the Giants Kids Club. The Giants give away bobbleheads all season long. There's a couple in the beginning of the year, and then it really heats up during the summer months of June, July, and August. And then it rounds out with just 2 more in both September and October. The Giants give away most of their bobbleheads on the weekends. Of the 18 that were given away in 2010, 11 were on Saturday or Sunday, with the rest being given out during the weekdays. The Giants give away most of their bobbleheads at night. Only 6 of the 18 were given away at a day game. In terms of the business of bobbleheads, there are a couple of things I still wanted to know. First off, why do they give away bobbleheads? Does it help increase attendance? Does it affect the fan experience in a positive way? Are they profitable? And lastly, do they help the Giants win in any way? Bobbleheads are some of the most popular promotions at the ballpark. Of the top 12, 5 of them were bobbleheads, and yet none of them made it to the top 6, which tells you that beyond the bobblehead or the promotion, more has to come into play in terms of driving attendance to the game, such as who they're playing, day of the week, and other factors. And let's explore that a little bit more. In general, bobbleheads and other promotions have a positive effect on attendance. The Giants averaged about 37,500 fans over the course of the year. In games where they didn't give a promotion away, they only drew about 35,800. And yet when they did give something away, give anything away, they drew almost 4,000 to 5,000 extra fans. The non-bobblehead games were actually very popular. Skateboard deck, Snuggie night, hat, t-shirt, opening day calendar, about 41,000. Bobbleheads in general, of the 18 games, they averaged out to about 39,500. And of course, the weekend bobblehead games at 41,000 drew a lot more than the weekday games at 38,000. In another sense, some promotions might actually have a negligible effect on attendance in their inability to draw extra fans to the game. If you actually did a day-by-day breakdown of the Giants' home attendance, you'll notice an interesting trend. Most Giants fans are only interested in coming out to the ballpark on the weekends and not so much during the rest of the week. In terms of promotions versus non-promotions, some days such as Sunday, Monday, and Friday draw more fans when you give something away. And then on the opposite hand, Tuesdays, Wednesdays, and Saturdays, the opposite is true, where even when you do give something away, people don't come as often. Which may seem like a paradox, because a free gift is a free gift, and yet you have to understand that promotions are given away to entice fans to come to unattractive matchups, right? Marquee matchups such as the Dodgers, Padres, and the Red Sox, you don't have to do any selling. The Giants will figure that out and come on their own even if there's no promotion. And yet in the middle of the week, when the Nationals, the Pirates, or say the Orioles are in town, you almost have to give something away in order to entice them to come. And even then, they might not come. Some promotions do work better than others. If you actually did a comparative breakdown of attendance for the same opponent in the same series, you'll notice that some promotions draw more fans and others don't. Some promotions such as San Francisco Zoo Pandaval bobblehead and the Chinese Heritage Night Tiger bobblehead drew less fans than the day they were given away versus the very next night when they weren't. Of course, this probably has to do with the fact that the Orioles and the Nationals were in town that day. Other promotions such as Panda Match Trading Cards, Bruce Bochy, and Jonathan Sanchez's bobbleheads actually had a negligible or neutral effect on attendance, averaging more or less than half a percentage difference between the two games. Of course, this also has something to do with the fact that the Red Sox, Dodgers, and Padres are in town that day, all very much a marquee matchup, especially the Dodgers. And yet, other times, if you do it right, bobbleheads and other promotions can have a dramatic effect on increasing attendance. Tin Lincecum bobblehead, Joe DiMaggio bobblehead, Luchador Lou, and Jerry Garcia bobbleheads averaged more than 2,000 to 4,000 more fans on the day they were given out than on the day they weren't on the very same series against the Mets, Diamondbacks, and Rockies. So in some sense, yes, bobbleheads and other promotions can draw more fans, and other times they don't. It really has to do with the matchup of who they're playing, when they're playing, and how the fans are feeling that day. Now, all these promotions definitely change the fan experience. In addition to adding interest to the game and leading to higher attendance, it converts an uninteresting game into an event, right? We all came last year to Tin Lincecum Bobblehead Day, not because we played the Mets, but because we wanted a Tin Lincecum bobblehead. It's also leading to a new phenomenon where we're all buying tickets in February for all these September and October games, right? They have our money 6 months in advance. It's an interesting idea. We're also coming to the ballpark way earlier, some of us up to like 4 hours in advance of game time. And if you're coming that early, you're also eating and drinking at the ballpark. All those garlic fries, cha-cha bowls, Chapulín bratwurst, and carnitas nachos, they lead to additional profits for the team. In addition to that, we're also purchasing more merchandise, right? And another interesting thing in terms of having a lot of bobbleheads, that once you get fans hooked to them, they keep coming back in an attempt to collect them all. Of course, the reason why teams give away bobbleheads in the first place is because they're very profitable. If you consider that the average ticket price to a Giants game is $23 and most of us are buying our seats in early February at FanFest, 3 to 7 months in advance of the actual games, the Giants can then reinvest the funds collected from early ticket sales and earn an additional 3 to 5% in bank interest alone. Now, most of us are also buying our tickets online, so we're all paying for that stupid handling surcharge as well. We're driving to the game, we're paying for parking, or we're taking a train or riding a ferry. We're also eating at the ballpark more because we're getting there so early just to pick up a bobblehead. And we're also exposed to a lot more branded Giants merchandise and memorabilia. All those panda hats, Timmy wigs, and Brian Wilson beards, they add up to a small fortune over time. And the actual cost of producing a bobblehead to give away is only $3 when you make as many as the Giants do. So in the end, each additional ticket sold contributes about $70 to the local baseball economy, of which probably half goes straight to the Giants and half to their partners. Now, all these promotions do wind up helping the team play better on the field. How, you ask? Well, consider that even if a promotion is only mildly successful and an extra 1,000 fans come to the game, the Giants can still make about $35,000 extra in additional revenue for that game. And if they draw 3,000 extra fans for, say, a midweek Heritage Night bobblehead, that's an extra $100,000. And for a weekend game where an extra 5,000 or 10,000 people might show up 4 hours in advance of the first pitch, that's another 175 to 250,000 extra in additional revenue. Now, you do this several times over the course of the season on your way towards giving away 18 bobbleheads, you can start to see how all that extra revenue from promotions starts to add up quickly in the Giants' piggy bank. And if you think about it, all that extra revenue can then be utilized to help offset the cost of acquiring better players in the middle of the season, either through free agency, waiver claims, or trades to help the team win more games down the stretch. So if you ever went to a game that you otherwise wouldn't have attended just to get a bobblehead, you indirectly contributed to the Giants' team success on the field in helping them bring a world championship to the city of San Francisco. Congratulations and thanks. As for the sponsors who provide all these bobbleheads, what do they get out of it? Obviously, the sponsors want to advertise their brand to a much larger audience. Bobblehead sponsorship is prestigious. It's a way of separating yourself from the crowd and making a name for yourself. And for a small business that's just starting out, it's a way to add legitimacy and through brand familiarity. Sponsors want to maximize their exposure, so it's always a big weekend giveaway. But they also want to ensure that every bobblehead that they're paying for is actually given away, which sometimes is a huge problem. You know, for a relatively small upfront capital investment of $60,000 in bobbleheads, most businesses will usually see an immediate 10% boost in product sales. And lastly, because all these tiny little corporate logos are now all over your house, reminding you to keep buying stuff, most of the sponsors will also experience a decent amount of long-term incremental revenue from repeat customer business. And this is all information I pulled from a recent New York Times article that you guys can check out later. Now let's take a good look at the opposing teams that the Giants play on Bobblehead Day. The opponents can come from anywhere, from the Western Division, Central Division, Eastern Division, even the American League. Unfortunately, most of the teams the Giants play on Bobblehead Day just aren't very good. Only two teams, the Cardinals and the Padres, actually managed to win more than 51% of their schedule. All the other rest of the teams, the Rockies, Diamondbacks, Astros, Brewers, Cubs, Nationals, Mets, Orioles, and A's, all had losing records. So that means bobbleheads equal victory. The Giants won 87% of their bobblehead days, only losing twice this year. Once against Milwaukee on Joe DiMaggio Day, and again against the Padres on Jonathan Sanchez bobblehead day. The rest of the time, 13 wins, only 2 losses. Pretty awesome. But come on, did bobbleheads really change the outcome of the game? Did they really help them win? Yes, they helped to pay for better players. No, the weaker teams came into town and simply lost to the Giants no matter what. They also lost the game before, they also lost the game after. End of the day, bobbleheads are a nice accent to the rest of the season. Since I am using attendance as the major variable to gauge the popularity and success of a promotion, I thought it'd be important to study some of the other factors that might affect attendance from game to game, such as the team's opponent, the time of the season, the weather, and the starting pitcher. When I sorted out the Giants' home attendance by opponent, I noticed an interesting trend that Giants fans are really only interested in watching certain teams. Meanwhile, other teams just don't draw many people. And promotions help to offset some of these unattractive teams to draw more people to the ballpark. The bars in orange represent games where the Giants gave away something during that series. Only 3 times during the year did the Giants not give something away, and those are represented in the black bars. Not surprisingly, Pittsburgh Pirates, who are already an unfavorable, uninteresting team, there were no promotions, and they drew the least fans of the year. In terms of seasonality, I noticed an interesting trend that more fans are coming out to the games in the middle of the year, which is not surprising. April and May starts out slow, but when it starts heating up again in the middle of the months of June, July, and August, more fans are definitely coming. Slows down a little bit, and in October and the playoffs happen, and that's when attendance really starts to skyrocket. I started to really wonder if game time temperature had a huge role in affecting attendance at a Giants game. But to my surprise, I found out that game time temperature has absolutely no effect on attendance. The variations in temperature according to attendance has no pattern, which is not surprising when you realize that Giants fans, we buy our tickets in February. We have no idea whether or not it's going to be hot or cold, but we paid for the tickets already, and the Giants are glad we did. Lastly, in terms of starting pitcher, it does seem like Tim Lincecum draws more fans on average than all the other pitchers except for Bumgarner, which is surprising. Bumgarner, who came up late in the year, draws an average of 40,000 fans per game. Lincecum, about 38,000, which is still about 2,000 more than the others. Surprisingly, Sanchez, Zito, and Kane drew almost exactly the same number of fans, about 37,000. Even Wellemeyer, who started 6 games, and Martinez, who started just 1 game, drew a lot of fans, about an average of 36,000 fans, which is pretty good. The Giants are putting out a consistent product that the Giants fans want to see. So what did we learn today? We learned that promotions are designed to help drive fan attendance. Sometimes they work and sometimes they don't. Attendance can fluctuate for many different reasons. There are many different types of bobbleheads and many different ways of getting one. The weekend bobblehead games are insanely popular. Bobbleheads are profitable and they help to pay for better players. The Giants are more likely to win on bobblehead day, and the Giants probably have the best fans in baseball. Because what other fan base would embrace the torture that is Giants baseball? And it's one thing to love your team when everything is going well because you have bandwagon fans coming out of the woodwork, but it's a totally different matter when it's not so much fun to be out there. You know what I mean. When it's Wednesday night, the Nationals are in town, it's cold, it's dark, the wind is blowing in off the arcade, the fog is rolling in off the bay, and you can barely see, and even the players are hiding in the dugout under a parka. And yet you look around the field, and there's still 35,000 fans out there watching the Giants do their thing. And I'll just leave you with this. The best way to draw more fans in the game is to win, and in particular, to win it all. So, San Francisco Giants, congratulations on winning the World Series. You gave me a whole lot of fun this year to watch. Let's do it again next year. And for everyone else, well, you want to come by and talk about bobbleheads, you know where I am. You can contact me as always, slideball@gmail.com. Thanks for watching. Go Giants. Bye.